And then you're just looking for already created, like you're not even creating your own necessarily.
Yes, existing. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't want to buy properties, carry back notes, like that. That's a lot more work, man. I want to sit home and go bass fishing and go snow skiing and go hiking and,
That's awesome
stuff, right?
Yeah, for
But
sure.
yeah, okay. So I'll stop this now. We can continue. So does that kind of explain it? And then you asked a question, and that's why I brought that up.
Yeah.
What was that? Did that answer the question, or was there more to it?
No, I think for most people, they have to understand the differences, right? That was a good explanation of what that looked like, and good definitions. We did one question that came through from Steve Johnson regarding, mobile home parks and notes like that. Do you get involved with the mobile home parks and buying notes on them?
Yeah, well, those are seller finance usually. However, most of the time we just go for mobile homes on land. So it's not in a park. They own the land and the mobile home. It becomes real property. It's the same as a note on a house.
Mm-hmm.
Can you buy notes on mobile homes on leased land on a lot where they pay lot rent? Yes, you can, but it's a whole different ball game of requirements and due diligence, because that is not real property. Just because someone's living in it doesn't make it real estate.
Yeah.
And when they're in it, in my world, if a mobile home is older than 10 or 15 years old, it's old. It's like vintage, right? And it's not worth much. It's a wobbly box. It's a pregnant roller skate on wheels. It's just just like cars depreciate, so do mobile homes, right? So there's different things to look at. Can they be purchased? Yes. There's just different due diligence and things to go for like that. Have I purchased them? Absolutely. Right.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We did have another question regarding your due diligence. When you're going through your due diligence, who helps you with your due diligence on an asset? People are looking for companies and teams and local Walmart to get their due diligence. Who's this special godlike secret person that you use for your due diligence to review assets?
Time on the water, man. Time on the water. If you don't know all about it yourself and you're going to trust someone else to do that, that's a scary situation for me. I am not a risk person. I do not like risk. So when I buy notes, yes, there's still risk, right? There's always risk, but I try to minimize it and keep myself in a position where, even if it goes bad, it'll still be good, if you follow me there. And now I forgot the question again.
No, just due diligence, right?
Due diligence. So is there a place you can go? I believe there's a few people out there that will process your notes for you and things like that. However, in the beginning, you should absolutely try to do it all yourself. Make that phone call to the title company, order a title insurance policy, right? Make that connection to the appraisal company and order that appraisal yourself. See how the process works. Learn how to read an appraisal. Learn how to read a title insurance policy. Learn how to read the documents. We just read a security instrument yesterday that had some language in it that I couldn't believe that was put in, and I caught it. And so now there's a different price because there was like, this person doesn't have to, this person gets a 15% discount if they pay off before 2025. And I'm like, well, that's a whole different ballgame now.
Yeah, it's a different note.
Now I have to lower my price and adjust for everything. But you've got to learn yourself. If you start out and you just trust people to do things for you, you are eventually going to get burned because it's not their job to keep you safe. It's their job to do the due diligence and then give it to you.
So
and it's a different perspective. Like,
yes,
sometimes I'll buy a note and I have this kind of exit strategy in mind.
Right.
And then what if it changes? And what if I don't decide I don't want to do that for this particular note? I want to do something different. And I mean, if you're trusting somebody else to do it for you, they may not know your end game, or they won't be able to guess your end game. And so that makes a difference on your due diligence.
Makes a big
also make sure clear what title policy really means, right? It's an insurance policy saying that the title's clean when the loan is originated. And why is that important for origination as well as buying? is that we can all, then we order our O&E, which says from the time it was purchased to now, what has happened. So if the title policy is there and something comes up, you actually have an insurance policy to deal with the issue and sometimes pay you off if the circumstances are right. So it's a huge tool that if you don't see a title policy, you should be a little worried, and you need to make sure that there's a clear title besides just your liens.
Absolutely. Yeah. The chain of title to the property. And in 31 years, you know, knock on wood, I've never had a claim with a title insurance policy, but it's just like, it's like car insurance or house insurance.
Yep.
You pay it every year. This you pay one time. And, you know, just like house insurance or car insurance, you might not ever use it.
Yes.
Right. So you've got to think about that. And I see a lot of, now, someone might bring up the fact that, well, aren't seller finance notes messier? Well, a little bit. Yeah, they are, because they don't have to get an application. They don't have to get, you know, truth in lending and write out everything and sign this and fiduciary responsibilities and stuff. The guy sits at the table and says, so you want to buy my house for 120,000? Great. Give me 20,000 down. I'll hold the note for this long. How does that sound? Great. Sign the documents, done. And I've gotten a note written on a piece of a yellow legal pad, right? But that had to be corrected, you know? So there's, in seller finance notes, we do a lot of work, not a lot, we do some work on cleaning up the file, making it presentable to investors, whether institutional or private. And for myself, making sure I have everything I need in case after I buy it, I need to take action and get things corrected. So
you'll buy it and then do some fix up and then may or may not sell it.
I'll make sure it's fixed up as I'm buying it during the due diligence process.
Yeah.
There's one right now, we're doing a land contract in Georgia, and they recorded a warranty deed and they have a note, but there's no security instrument. There's no deed of trust.
Oh, okay.
And so we're like, well, that's got to be fixed, right?
Yeah.
And if you want us to do it, our price is going to go down a little bit. If you do it before that, we'll keep our price the same.
Got it.
So the guy's like, and he used an attorney. Guys, attorneys, you know, no offense to anyone that's an attorney, but they don't know everything. And they especially don't know about seller finance notes if that's not like their core business. Yes. If they're not a real estate attorney, they probably haven't done these transactions, and they just, I don't know, look it up on Google and do their best. I have no idea.
So before we get into some deals, right? Everyone wants numbers. It's exciting. Can you share a little bit about how you come across these assets, the secret ideas, new cool technology that you use to find great new deals?
We would just love it if there was some new cool technology to find us seller finance notes. But I tell you what, guys, 31 years. I mean, both of you have seen my marketing presentations, and you know, thinking of it as a business. I think my last figures that I quoted at the Paper Source Convention was, you know, overall 31 years, over 709,000 people have responded to me. Yeah. And I've closed, you know, 2,300 transactions, you know, a very, very small percentage of them. But that's a lot. That's a lot. And when you talk about, you know, what cool technology is there to find notes, guys, these notes aren't online usually, you know, and if they are, they've usually been through us meaning the people that regularly buy seller finance notes, the institutions, some of us larger privates. And I've seen notes that we've canceled up on those up online. And you know, if that's your mode of finding, you know, deals, great. Trust but verify. We talked about trust earlier with the due diligence stuff. Trust but verify. Look at that stuff. Read it yourself. Get what you need to get. If they don't give you enough time, bail. Right? You need to know what you're doing. You need to know your investor mindset, and you need to know what you're doing. When we're trying to find seller finance notes, yes, there are some online marketing strategies that we use. Social media, every now and then, Google AdWords, things like that, search engine optimization, all these different kinds of things. But the core of finding an individually held seller finance note is marketing, right? I talk about marketing all the time. Marketing is something you have to do for every business. And for me, I'll quickly go through it. It's you've got to have 3 to 5 things working for you at any one point in time. And of those 5 things, half of my business comes from direct mail. I purchase names and addresses of note holders, and I direct mail to them. That's half of my business every year. Half my deals closed, and last year was like 62%. But of my deals that I closed were from my direct mail campaign. And it's not a one-time throw out 1,000 letters and get a deal. It's a consistent program over time, 1,000 a month, 2,000 a month, whatever you can afford. It's expensive, but it does get me deals.